We are live. Good morning, everybody. I hope you are ready. You are strapped in and ready to do another show today. This is Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee coming to you from Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be a good show today. We're going to be talking about gambling. What are you gambling with? You know the drill. We will be back right after this. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well today. Yes, like I said previously, today's show is coming to you from the 15th floor of the Luxor Casino in downtown Las Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm out here doing a convention right now. Going to be back in session here shortly, and so here's studio number 3, Las Vegas, for the Midweek Motivation Live show. A lot of people tuning in already. Look at the show. People already liking and loving the show. Love it. How's everybody doing today? Hey, Sal. Good to see you already on here. Las Vegas is a different animal. I've been coming here for over 20 years, maybe 25 years now. And some of that history is going to be in the show today. A couple of other things that I've recently done and experienced in my life, and a couple of things that I'm learning here as well in Las Vegas. Pretty exciting. My real estate company is here. It's the national convention for EXP Realty. The EXP Con was our biggest event of the year. It's exciting and loving the things that I'm learning here, the good and the bad, and want to share some of that with you today. So if you're ready to strap in, I think you're going to like the show today. What are you gambling with in your life is the topic today. I've already had my. You have to in Vegas. You know, it's a Starbucks city, so the casinos, you don't get coffee in your room like a lot of motels that you go to. They have a coffee maker. You can make some coffee, usually pretty decent. Not in Las Vegas. They only have Starbucks, and they're only in the casinos downstairs. And I'm not a fan of Starbucks coffee. I'm much happier with Roasters, Dutch Brothers, Scooters, a couple of others. The Human Bean, if you're in an area where there's a Human Bean, shout out to my Human Bean people back in Bandon, Oregon. Love their coffee. So I brought instant coffee with me, and it's the strongest you can get, and that's Death Wish. So I've already had my Death Wish coffee. You can tell it's got me jacked this morning. I'm drinking my greens, my morning kick. My brother Cody, thanks a lot, hooking me up with some more morning kick before I had to order some. If you can't, if you want some help, this is not a paid advertisement. A lot of YouTube videos are sponsored, but this is not sponsored. But I have found this Morning Kick product by Chuck Norris, loaded with a lot of great healthy things. Getting my greens in every day now, drinking Morning Kick. Maybe I'll get sponsored in the future. Hey, wouldn't that be great? Hey, Chuck, Roundhouse Provisions, I need you to sponsor the Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee. So there's my shameless plug there. So I'm getting my drinking my greens today. And when you're in Vegas, you just need to do that. You need to be healthy. I do it every day anyway. Oh, Cody had Wolfgang Putt coffee in my room. Well, good for you, Cody. I guess I don't have as good of a room as you did. Yeah, Cody was just here last week before. One of my other friends and clients was here this weekend, and a lot of people I know have been in Vegas lately. So, hey, it's my turn, right? Love coming here. I come out once or twice a year, nearly every year, not because I love Vegas, but it's where the biggest conventions in America are: Vegas, Anaheim, Orange County, Florida. If you're going to go to the biggest conventions in America, that's where you're going to be. Michael Del Prete was one of our keynote speakers yesterday. Tarek El Moussa, many of you know him from his flipping show on TV. So one of the most famous flippers in America, Tarek El Moussa, he is with us here. Brought his whole business to EXP. A lot of people, man, a lot of people have brought their game, hitched their wagon, so to say, to EXP. The millionaire real estate guy from New York brought his business over here, Grant Cardone. and Elena brought their entire business over here. A lot of people have chosen to bring their businesses in the real estate investment world and hitch those wagons to EXP, the number one workhorse in a real estate brokerage in America today. We learned a lot of great stats yesterday on national trends and actual numbers of the largest brokerages, real estate brokerages in America, and EXP now is in 21 other countries. And it was astounding at the difference between our business model and theirs, how successful in a down market a company like ours can be. Probably some of the reasons that so many people have decided to come and join us. But while you're in Vegas learning all of these things, all of you know you walk a lot. You're exposed to a lot of different things. You need to stay healthy. So I've got my greens, my vitamin C, some liquid IV hydration in here, and I'm keeping it going, keeping healthy here. But some of the things I want to talk to you all about today. What are you gambling with? And of course, this is the number one gambling city in America and potentially the world. I know other nations have some huge gambling markets, but Las Vegas, probably in America for sure. I learned yesterday that Las Vegas already has the permits in hand to build a bullet train. And the bullet train is going to be making trips back and forth between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And it's going to be so fast that it can bring everyone from California, Southern California, to spend all of their money in Las Vegas, Nevada. How awesome is that? What are they gambling with? They also have a fully electric 2.5 miles of fully electric tunnels, autonomously driven electric vehicles, and they're going to have a subway, an electric subway under the city. And they already have how many miles? Multiple more miles of land purchased and permits in hand to continue building the subway around and under Las Vegas as well. And they will have these electric cars that will be going back and forth to every casino, to the airport. They're going to be adding a new airport in Las Vegas. It's growing so fast. They already have land purchased for that. They'll be putting in another airport in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is gambling on Las Vegas and the success of their city. It's growing at a rate in a potentially or somewhat down economy. Las Vegas continues to grow. There's going to be a lot of reasons why. We're going to talk about some of those, but it's mainly because of gambling. The thing that we have found, and this was an interesting stat I learned yesterday, that while inflation right now is high, I have learned that the unemployment rate is incredibly low. So the people that are complaining about not having enough money and the cost of living being so high are still bringing their hard-earned dollars that they are getting to Las Vegas to gamble them in record numbers. That's a shocking trend, not something I was happy to hear, because here on Midweek Motivation, we are always talking to you about motivating you to success in every area of life, right? That is the motto of the show. And financially successful people are the people that really kind of hold the reins or hold on to the steering wheel of our nation as a whole, right? And so we need you to be as financially successful as possible, which means you need to be as wise with your finances as possible. And taking the money that you are making when things cost so much more now than they did 4 years ago, in my mind, is foolish. What are they gambling with? Are they taking a chance that they can come out here and take some of that money? And I know it's a foolish gamble, but they're taking that money thinking that they can increase it, take it back to their family, to their business, to their friends, potentially. But some people say, hey, man, and I heard this yesterday, I bring $100 to gamble with, and when I reach my $100 limit, I'm done. If I lose it, I lose it. If I make $100, I've made another $100, and I'm happy with that. I met some people yesterday that are incredibly successful gamblers. One of them made over $100,000 last year just gambling. They also have a business that makes them money, but they gambled as a hobby, and they made over $100,000 last year gambling. How about this view? 18th floor or 15th floor of the Luxor. You can see other casinos, the Towers, Tropicana, MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay right next to me. Many of you know Excalibur on the other side. All of these, New York, New York, they're all connected. Um, MGM Grand. This is part of the MGM Grand family here at the Luxor. Some of you may or may not know that their systems, they gambled on technology, and they had a hacker convention here in Las Vegas a few weeks ago to teach the convention, the centers, the casinos, how to stay safe from hackers. And what happened was they got hacked. They got held for ransom. Their systems, all of their gambling systems, were locked down. Their computer systems, billing, everything, check in and check out, all of the billing was hacked, and it cost them an undisclosed large amount of money to get their systems back, because they gave access to their systems to these hackers that were supposed to be teaching people how not to be hacked and protecting them. And they actually handed over the reins, the steering wheel, if you will, to all of their systems, and they got hacked. They gambled with their entire infrastructure, and that infrastructure was kidnapped and held for ransom. What are you gambling with right now? What risks are you taking in your life? Are you gambling quickly? Are you gambling with your health? Are you gambling with your finances? I made it a goal this time. I seldom ever gamble when I come to Vegas. I just don't believe in gambling. I don't play the lotto. It's been years and years since I bought a lottery ticket. When Powerball was, I guess, 10 years ago, probably the last time I bought a lottery ticket, when Powerball got up to like $250 million. And a friend of mine asked me when it was over $1 billion recently if I was going to go buy a ticket. And I used the old joke, nah, if it gets over 2 billion, maybe I'll buy a ticket, but it's not worth buying a ticket for me to give up my hard earned money to go buy a lottery ticket for the chance to win $1 billion. I'm just not a gambler. I gambled the first time I started coming to Vegas. I made about $150, and then I quickly lost it. And about 5 years ago, I think I gambled $25 and I lost it immediately. And I said, see, gambling is not for me. God's showing me that that's not my superpower. It's not gambling. So I don't gamble, and I try not to gamble with other things in my life. But we talk about on the show, we talk about relationships, we talk about finances, we talk about your health, things that many people gamble with. But what I really want to talk to you today about is gambling with your own personality, gambling with your sense of positivity, your level of success. Are you gambling with that? And are you selling yourself out down the river? Yesterday, I talked with some friends here that also come frequently. One of them, Michael Collier, a good friend of mine. I get to see him here a couple of times a year, and then through social media, we're all part of a nation, a group of agents here at EXP. Michael Collier was the MC of EXP Con on the big stage. You had 6,000 or 7,000 people in the room, and Michael and another lady were the MCs of the entire event. And I'll be back in there shortly after the show is over, seeing the guests that are on stage today as well. And we have a great lineup of people that are here to talk to us. And these are the things they talk about. We're talking with Michael last night at a dinner get together that we were at, and he told me the story of a friend of his that they had known for years. And this person continued to come and gamble, and they would try to talk to him about gambling. And they knew he was a good man, a good husband, a good father, but he came in and he gambled about $100, and he won $200, and he just kept letting it ride. And it got to be over 15,000, 20,000. And he ended up amassing this large winnings. And by the time it was all said and done, he had let it ride, and he threw it all down on one number, and he lost everything. And they said, well, he only lost $100, and it wasn't just the $100 that he lost. By the time it was all said and done, he had let that roll and gambled his way up to where, to cover that debt, he had thrown in the titles to 2 vehicles and the deed to his home. So he turned $100 into a win and then he couldn't quit gambling and he lost everything. And unfortunately, that was a real life story of a friend of a friend. And unfortunately, we hear those kind of stories all too often. Someone gambled with their life, they gambled with their health, but they gambled with their relationships and they started making some bad decisions and everything fell apart. Maybe you've been there in your life and you've taken a blow and it's knocked you down and you no longer feel like you are worthy of building yourself back up, at least to the level where you were before and anywhere beyond. If that's you today, I mean, you can drop me a note. Um, yeah, Frank Gordo says great analogy in stores. I hear the Kenny Rogers song "Gambler" in the background. It's true. Yeah, it is. It is true. So many people we know stories of that have gambled it all and lost. I was in a teaching. I'm in Texas Realtors Leadership Program, learning to be a state leader in the real estate world, and just graduated. I haven't had the graduation service, but we just finished our final session on personal sustainability and growth last week. And my friend Jody Holland was there. Jody's been a guest on the show in the past with Cody. We've done a show before. I need to get Jody back on the show. And Jody, of course, is a successful speaker, travels and speaks, and business coach, life coach, and has multiple books that he has written. And you can go to jodyholland.com and get access to those. Hypnotic Selling, his book on facial reading. Those things are just exciting to me. I love anytime I get to go listen to Jody Holland or get to talk with him. And he shared a few things with me about this very topic we're talking about today, which is your personality, your belief in yourself, your level of success. How you believe in yourself is directly related to how far in life you can go. And the people that get knocked down in life, they've gambled with something and lost. They feel like they've just been knocked out. Sometimes you feel like it's that 1-2 punch. You're fighting, you're in the game, and then you get that knockout punch, and it just knocks you out, and you don't know that you're ever going to get back up. I watched a bunch of videos in the last week since I was in this session with Jody, and I've watched a lot of videos of crazy knockouts. How many of you like to watch crazy knockout videos? I do. In the UFC, of course, MMA, fighting, boxing. I grew up watching the Friday night fights and then the Tuesday night fights with my granddad and my dad, all the way back past Joe Frazier days. When I went to my grandmother's funeral 20 years ago, my granddad was there on his cane. He was already in his 90s, and he said he was looking for Joe Frazier. He thought he could go a couple of rounds. And those things always impressed me. I love watching the great knockouts. We watched Muhammad Ali in the back of the ambulance with my dad at the football game. We'd have a little TV back there plugged into the lighter with an antenna, and we would watch anytime Muhammad Ali or George Foreman or one of those guys was going to be fighting. I watched Muhammad Ali beat the snot out of Ernie Shavers and Ken Norton. You know, Ken Norton broke Muhammad Ali's jaw. Muhammad Ali came back and beat the tar out of him. So I love watching knockouts. Some of the craziest knockouts I've seen lately this week were instances where the one I just watched yesterday was the craziest 30 seconds in fighting. And these two guys are fighting. They come out. It's the first round. And this guy just cold cocks this dude, knocks him smooth out. The guy rolls over, shakes his head. He barely makes it the 8 count. The ref wipes off his gloves. Are you ready to go? He lets him fight. And within about 5 seconds, that guy knocks out the other guy. And everyone's going crazy. That guy knew how to take a punch and come back and win. Do you have the same tactics? Do you have the same strength, the same fortitude in your own life? Cody says, Cody and Jody. Cody says Jody has a leadership event in Amarillo at the beginning of November. Wonderful. We need anyone that's watching the show, you're in the Amarillo area, we need to find out. Maybe we can put a link in the comments below the video on how people can go to this leadership event, get signed up. Pay no attention to the light behind me in the corner. It comes on and off randomly, and I do not know why. It's been interesting. So It's but you need lights in the motel rooms. But in this event with Jody, he talked about the difference between Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu. And that is the principle, proximity matters principle, Muay Thai versus Jiu Jitsu. In Muay Thai, if you have watched Muay Thai movies, I love karate movies, martial arts movies. I still watch a lot of them. But in Muay Thai, the goal is to beat the body down of your opponent. They use a lot of kicks because your shin is a lot harder than your fist. These guys practice by kicking trees with their shins. They punch trees with their bare fists. They may wrap them with a cord or like a torn up strips of a sheet, some kind of cloth, and they just bare fist punch trees and hard wooden boards. And the goal is for you to stay at a range that you can knock your opponent's body down. You can beat them down. You start kicking their legs, kicking their hips, kicking their ribs, punching them in the shoulders and the arms. And if you can damage their muscles, you can wear them down quickly and you can beat them. You can get in the knockout punch, and that knockout punch may be a knockout kick. You never know. But the difference between Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu, if you're in the Muay Thai situation, you need to stay out of punching range, right? You need to come in and strike and then get out of range, because if they can reach you, they can hurt you. But the difference, and many of you that know my daughter Erica went to train at Extreme Martial Arts. I've had Ty Garrett, the owner and teacher coach of Extreme Martial Arts. He's a specialist in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And the jiu-jitsu tactic is keeping your enemy or your opponent at a very close range. Proximity matters. If you can keep that person in so close to you, they can't punch you. Their body doesn't have enough space to fully develop a punch or fully develop a kick. You need to stay closer to your opponent as opposed to further away. And when you get closer to that opponent, you can hold on to that person, pull them in close to you so they're not able to cause damage to you. They can't knock you out. And the ultimate goal, pretty much in jiu-jitsu, is to choke a person out or to completely get them to submit in a type of a hold to where they have to tap out or risk losing consciousness. And I've seen it happen many, many times. Like I said, my daughter trained there at Extreme Martial Arts for a few years through the level of a purple belt, and unfortunately used that on her sister a few times just to show her who was the dominant sister in our household. It was quite comical, but also a learning lesson. Learning the skill behind many martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu, has taught Erica an amount of personal control, self-confidence, a lot of the things that she was lacking at the time as a young teenage girl. And I think it was very good for her, and I highly recommend it. So if you keep your opponent in close, they can't hurt you. Proximity matters. In the business world and in the life world, another thing that happens is you need to keep proximity to the people that can most help you in life. We talk about your top 5, your sphere of influence. It's one of the number one things that has been on the topic of all of the top speakers in America that have been here at this event. Who you hang around with matters in today's day and age, even more importantly than in the past. It's easy to be successful when everyone has the same ability to be successful. When there are times of plenty and it's easy to go out and make a buck, nearly anybody can do it. But when the going gets tough, the weak give up. When inflation strikes, how do you pay your bills? When the cost of bread and gasoline has doubled and tripled in the last 4 years, how do you continue to make ends meet? The interesting stat that I also heard yesterday is that America has bypassed the $1 trillion mark in credit card debt for the first time in history. Over $1 trillion in credit card debt. And what that statistic tells us is that as the inflation continues to rise, people are using their credit cards to pay for gasoline. They're using their credit cards to pay their electric bill. They're using their credit card to pay their other bills, something that we generally would not have to experience. but people have credit as opposed to money. And when the cost of living continues to rise higher and higher and higher, they have no other recourse right now but to use their credit cards just to live, just to sustain themselves and their family. So in this day and age that we are in, when the going gets tough, the tough pull in closer to the people that they know, love, and trust, the people that are the most successful, the people that have the most resources to be able to withstand the current trends and the current climate that we find ourselves in. Proximity matters. Cody says, tired of turnover, low performance, and frustration at work. This is the tagline for Jody's event. Eliminate frustration without breaking the bank, without starting over with your employees. Come to the Leadership Academy in Amarillo. We'll have the link. The link is in. If you want to find out about Jody Holland and his events, the link is here in the comments that just Cody made on the show. Love that. Thank you. One of the things that I want you to do, here's your exercise for the day that Jody did with us, and it was pretty interesting and eye-opening to me. I've done a lot. I used to have a radio show with Pat Brown in the days gone by. It was the Pat Brown Show. I was the co-host, and we did a top 10 list every week on the show. That show ran on Christian radio for a couple of years, 2 different iterations of that show with my good friend Pat Brown. Twice the Pat, half the fat. That was one of our taglines. We were 2 skinny guys. It was awesome. He still is. I don't know what happened to me, but I'm working on it. I'm down almost 20 pounds and I'm looking at losing 20 more. So I'm on the way, guys. But we did a top 10 list, and Jody brought out a top 10 list, and this was hard for me. And this is your exercise for today. And I really challenge you to do this. I want you to write down a top 10 list of the coolest things you have done in your life and reflect on it. While I was in this training, I started to write down. We got down about 6. I think some people were having a hard time getting past 2 or 3. The people I was sitting next to a former cop on one side who's now a realtor at another brokerage. Everyone in the room that I was training with are at different brokerages, and we're all learning how to grow and become leaders at state level and maybe the national level, certainly at our local level. Some of the people had trouble getting past 2 or 3 things, cool things that they had done in their life. And I had a couple. I've karaoke'd Sinatra in a restaurant, got a standing ovation. That was a cool thing. Singing for my wife. I performed in a band, traveled and played years ago, sang in a Christian band. I've been to Vegas many times. When I first started coming to Vegas, one of the coolest things I ever did was I went to the Stratosphere, one of the tallest buildings in Las Vegas. And they have thrill rides on top of the Stratosphere. If you've ever been here and seen those, they are blood-curdlingly terrifying. And I was a thrill junkie, and I went to the top of the Stratosphere, and I rode all of the rides with a couple of friends. 2 of my friends were they chickened out. They didn't have the intestinal fortitude to ride all the rides. But here you are, nearly 1,000 feet in the air on top of this giant building, riding these thrill rides, and some of them dump you over the edge of the building, and it's just crazy. And it was cool. It made you feel terrified and never more alive in your life. I still don't do that anymore, but it was cool. I'm not a thrill junkie. My thrill now comes from serving the Lord and my family and helping people achieve the love and pride of home ownership and helping to motivate you. Those are the things that are cool. So yeah, one of the other cool things I've done was I started a podcast almost 4 years ago, and you're watching it today. I witnessed the birth of both of my daughters. They were both emergency C-sections, got to cut the umbilical cord on one of them. Very cool. I built and pit crewed a race car with my best friend and his older brother. His older brother drove to one of the top we placed at the end of the season. As a teenager, we built and pit crewed a race car. My best friend's brother drove it. We placed 3rd at the end of the league. It was awesome. These are just some cool things that we have done. But we forget those things. If we don't keep them first and foremost in our mind, we forget that we have done cool things, positive things that other people would think were cool. And it's probably because we don't gamble on ourselves as much as we should. We are taught to be self-deprecating, to not brag. and to be more humble. And I believe that we should, but we take that sometimes to the point to where we don't believe the good things about us, the cool things that we have done, the positive things, maybe the attributes that we have as a person that we carry inside. Um, some people, other people may see those, but we don't. So the second exercise we had, and I would like for you to do that, write down a top 10 list of the cool things that you have done in your life. It could be anything. Throw some of them up here in the comments. I love this. Cody's putting the code in here also, $100 off if anyone wants to watch that, go to that event or watch Jody's event. So the second top 10 list, and while we talk about these things, I want you to write down a top 10 list of the positive attributes about you. Can you honestly write that list? I had a hard time with it because in the beginning, you can get down 2 or 3 positive things about you. Hey, I'm relatively handsome. That's not even on my list. But many of you could write that. Cody, Frank, Sal, all of you guys, all the guys, all the ladies that watch Midweek Motivation Live are beautiful and handsome, just so you know, and incredibly intelligent, and just incredibly intelligent, the best in intelligence. And I love that about all of you. But how hard will it be for you to do this? Write down a top 10 list of positive things about you. And I will share a couple of them. I am friendly, I am faithful, and I am compassionate. Everyone in this room, men and women, were writing down these lists about themselves. Are you happy? Are you wise? Are you knowledgeable? Are you a servant? Are you a leader? Are you handsome? Are you pretty? Are you giving? Do you have a lot of resources that you share with other people? Are you nurturing? Are you kind? Are you loving? I mean, all of these things. My name, Patrick, means noble father. Am I noble? Do I act noble? Do I act like a good father to my children and to those that are around about me? These are all of the things that you're asked to write about yourself. Write that list. I challenge you to do it. Write down 10 positive things about you. And then we took our list and we partnered up with someone on either side of us and we traded lists. And then you had to look at that other person in the eye and read their list to them and tell them, you are handsome, you are kind, you are compassionate, you are loving, you are wise. And I was listening to this ex-cop sitting next to me reading this list back to me about me. Hit me right in my heart. And I challenge you to do it too. I believe that it will you as well, because we make it a point not to brag about ourselves, but we gamble in our mind with whether we really believe those things about ourselves. And I watched men and women in the room have trouble filling out that list. And we took more time on that list than we did on the 10 cool things, just so you know. We had about 5 or 6 things on the cool list. And then Jody stopped us and said, hey, that's okay. However many you've got, let's stop there. We're talking about cool things just to get your brain thinking. And then we took more time on this list. Can you really take the time to write out a top 10 list of positive attributes about yourself? And if you don't have someone at home or a close friend, I challenge you to write that list and then read it to yourself in the mirror. Can you do that? I challenge you to do that. And believe me, it will make a difference in you. It made a difference in me. It challenged me to believe in myself, and it will do the same for you. It will break through limiting beliefs that you have about yourself and cause you to stop gambling with your future and to start working on building you. The best thing I can ever do for those that I know, love, and trust is grow me. And I've heard that so many times here from my friends and thousands of people that I'm here meeting with. And it's the number one topic when times are bad. Focus on the fundamentals and do the best things. Be the best version of you that you can be. I challenge you to do it. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate that. Cody says, awesome show. I know you're standing in your restaurant crying. I appreciate that from you. Cody's such a great friend. Frank, Sal, all of you that are watching the show today, I like that. The loves and the likes and the hearts are going up. I appreciate that. But that's my challenge to you today. Pay attention to what you're gambling with. Are you gambling with yourself, with your own motivation, your own belief in yourself? Are you gambling with that? I challenge you to stop that. Work on yourself. Be the best you can be. And when you continue to do that, you will make it through these times. We're all going to make it through. These times came to pass, they didn't come to stay. Now, the word tells us that we will go through these trials and even more in the future, but you don't have to partake. You need to thrive. You need to be the best you that you can be. And let's make it through these times. And when we do, we will come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and better for it. Bonus tip: don't gamble with your future or those you love. Thank you guys for coming by today. Watch the show. I appreciate each and every one of you. If there is any way I can help any of you with your real estate needs, that would be a great way you can help me in return. If you know anybody that is interested in buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, 29% of all of the real estate transactions in the year so far have been investment deals. So if you know someone who's interested in investing in real estate as well, I would be happy to talk to them. Click on the link to my digital business card in the comments below this video, www.patricklee.work. That digital business card I used so many times last night. The owners and creators of Content Cards, Crim Global and Crim AI, were in the house last night. Michael Crim and Nick Crim, my boys. It's always good to get back with them. They've created my digital business card, a lot of my online presence, and they're the reason I do this show today. And it was good to visit with them last night as well. www.patricklee.work. Click on that, get on my schedule. I'd love to talk to you about how I can help you with your real estate goals. Remember, everybody, courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. Go out there and get uncomfortable today. Make a new friend. Work. Maybe that new friend is you. Thank you, Gina. You are such a great friend. Love you. Until next time, guys, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. Love you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.